Hey guys, welcome to my spear overview tutorial. We're going to be just kind of going over some of the spear things we did last time. So we're going to analyze two sounds. One is going to be a pitched sound, this pluck string, and the other is going to be a more noisy sound. So let's open up the program. Let's go to File, Open, not Import. Sometimes I get that confused. File, Open, and go to desktop or wherever your sound is, pluck string, and open. All of this is kind of fine if you just leave it. And you push analyze, and there we go. So if we zoom out, we can see that the x-axis here is time in seconds, and the y-axis is basically frequency. And we can play it. Okay, cool. So that is a pluck string. Okay, very good. So we can transform this in a number of ways. We can move the frequencies around, the individual frequencies. We can stretch things. We can delete certain parts, etc., etc. So I'm just going to show you how to do each one of those. So if we select all, and you can either take one of these two selection tools and just select everything. You can do that. Or you can just do Command A, and that will select everything also. So either of those work. Command or Control A if you are on a PC. So then you can take this tool right here, the time stretch, or you can just push the letter E, and you can then take everything that is selected and stretch it. And that'll make it sound real wacky. And it'll make it sound like this. So that's a good tool to use for kind of creating like a longer sound, perhaps one of your sections for this project. So you can also just take a little part of it. So maybe we can copy just the beginning, and we can delete everything else, and then you can paste it, and then you can stretch just that little section. So it's just this section. Then we'll stretch that out, and then that just gives you, instead of like the whole thing stretched out, it just gives you one little snapshot that's stretched out. That can be really cool. You can even do a smaller segment. You can also only stretch a few of these things. So if you take this arrow tool, select partial, you can select a partial or multiple partials. You can just push shift, click, boop, beep, boop, bop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, beep, boop, beep, bop, beep, boop, beep. And then you can move these or stretch them, just those alone. So you can take the stretch tool and make them smaller or longer, or you can take the frequency shift tool or press F, and you can just kind of move them. And you can do this again and again, just kind of select one and move it. You can also use the frequency transpose tool. I think it's kind of the same. I'm not 100% sure what the difference is. Okay, so then we've moved some of these partials around. Let's hear that again. Okay, kind of cool. Now we can just select things another way. Let's say we only want the really strong frequencies, like the really darker lines. We can select everything and then go to Edit and then go to Select Partials Below Threshold. And you can select below a certain amplitude. So for instance, this is under 60 decibels. Everything that is under 60 decibels that will be selected, we can up that a little bit so that more can be included in the selection. So I'm going to do -30, so everything under -30 is going to be selected. So that has selected everything that is basically quieter in this, so we can delete that, and then we're just left with kind of these more pure tones. And you can do the opposite, so I'm going to Control Z, so we're back to this state where we had selected under 30 decibels. We could go to Edit, and then we could do invert selection. And now we just have the really strong partials selected. So we could also just delete those. And we can see that result. Much more sparkly. And we can put that back. And we can also move this if we want. Maybe move it down. And it's transformed again. Something you can also do, you can use this lasso tool to just get certain parts and delete them. And these are like these are pretty big square-ish sections, even though obviously I'm not like lassoing squares. And so I believe if you synthesize this and then open it up again, then you can select things a little bit more specifically. So, but for now, let's do this. And then, you hear things go in and out, which would be cool. If you do the method where you synthesize and then reanalyze, then you can do very detailed work and make it really sparkly and interesting in that way. But this is what you can do in Spear with a pitched sound. For a non-pitched sound, I'll show you what that looks like. File open. We'll go to desktop and we'll pick the Door Creak. So this is what the Door Creak sounds like. Okay, sounds like Door Creak. Open and analyze. Okay. So this one, as you can see, there's no like clear like straight lines that are equally spaced like we saw with the other one. So it's just kind of a little bit more random. It's not really a pitched sound with the Door Creak. So this is kind of what you get. But you can still do the same kind of things. You can, select certain parts and you can make them stretched out. You can just select a tiny bit, maybe right here, delete everything else, paste it, and then maybe stretch it. You could really just look at kind of the higher frequencies maybe that could be interesting if we just isolate like the high frequencies and the low frequencies. So we just kind of delete everything just in the middle. Hear what that's like. Okay. We could also potentially draw sound. So maybe we have this high and this low. Maybe we do a little bit more to it to make it a little more interesting. And then, maybe we draw just like a little shifting line kind of in that higher frequency space. Maybe something like that could be interesting. Maybe. Kind of interesting. Once again, a little bit more care, and you could make something that sounds really exciting. And that could definitely act as one or maybe two of your sections if you have multiple sounds that you're manipulating. For instance, if one section was the manipulation of the noisy sound and then the other section was a manipulation of pitch sound, that could be two interesting contrasting sections. You could also take one of those and manipulate it in Audacity and manipulate the other one in Spear or whatever. So that's my little tutorial for Spear. Now, last thing to do, if we're happy with our sound, is we go to Sound and we go to Synthesize to New File. And you can save it as an AIFF. All the sounds you use have to be uncompressed. They either have to be a wave or an AIFF, or you won't be able to analyze them. No MP3s, so we're going to name this one Door Creak Beer. Push save. And here it is. Okay, and then we can take that into Reaper or Audacity or wherever we want to put it. Okay? All right, thanks for tuning in. See you later. Bye.